If you ask someone to list the great American luxury coupes, you'll hear the usual suspects: the Lincoln Mark Series, Cadillac Eldorado, Chrysler's 300s, maybe a Ford Thunderbird if they're feeling nostalgic. All of them had long hoods, rear trunks, front-mounted V8s, and the sort of chrome that could blind low-flying aircraft. What you wouldn't hear is the Zimmer Quicksilver, which is understandable because most people have no idea it exists. And yet, it might be the strangest, most contradictory luxury coupe America ever built. A car that combined the classical chrome-drenched excess of a personal luxury yacht with a mid-engine layout borrowed from a Pontiac sports car. Think of it as a Lincoln Continental that accidentally mated with a Ferrari 308. Only it was born in Florida and raised on a diet of 1980s optimism. You see, Zimmer Motorcars wasn't a big Detroit powerhouse. It was a boutique outfit founded in 1980 by Paul Zimmer and his son Bob. Their business model was simple: take existing American cars, rebody them with over-the-top styling, throw luxury at them, and sell them for a price of a modest house. Their first creation, the Zimmer Golden Spirit, was exactly the sort of thing you'd expect from a company born in Florida during the Reagan years. Based on the Fox-body Ford Mustang, it was a modern chassis hiding under a neoclassic body that looked like a 1920s Rolls-Royce dressed for a Vegas wedding. It had an 8-year production run and found about 1,000 homes, mainly with wealthy eccentrics who liked the idea of a car that turned heads at any country club car park. By 1985, Zimmer wanted something a little more restrained, at least by their standards, something that harkened back to the glory days of the American luxury coupe. Long, sleek, chrome-laden, but still with a twist that no one saw coming. That twist was putting the engine in the middle. The donor car for the Zimmer Quicksilver was the Pontiac Fiero GT, America's first mass-produced mid-engine sports car. The Fiero was compact, light and affordable, but also perfect as a donor because its chassis layout could handle dramatic new bodywork without major surgery. And Zimmer didn't just slap on a body kit. No, they went all in. The Quicksilver's fiberglass shell was designed by Don Johnson, the former GM designer under Bill Mitchell. It was stretched, widened, and given proportions that made it look far more imposing than the humble Fiero it started life as. The front wore a massive chrome grille, straight out of the personal luxury car playbook, flanked by subtle pop-up headlights, one of the few concessions to 1980s fashion. From the side, the long overhangs and wire-spoke wheels screamed old-school elegance, even if the car itself was barely bigger than a BMW 3 Series of the era. Inside, Zimmer kept most of the Fiero's cockpit layout, but covered everything in fine leather and wood grain trim. They did also add a glove box, which was absent in the stock Fiero, because no self-respecting luxury coupe would ask you to store your documents in the door pocket. Mechanically, however, the Quicksilver was all Pontiac. That meant a 2.8-litre V6 making 140 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque. In other words, enough to make the car move at a brisk pace, but not enough to trouble the era's actual performance cars. And while that might sound underwhelming for a car that cost $48,000 in 1986, Zimmer wasn't chasing quarter-mile times. This was about cruising in quiet comfort, with the stability and balance that came from a mid-engine layout. Side note, $48,000 back then was a lot. That's about $136,000 today. Anyways, weighing just 2,920 pounds or 1,327 kilograms, the Quicksilver wasn't burdened by its extra luxury. The fiberglass kept it light, and the Fiero's chassis meant it had a low center of gravity and a near-perfect weight distribution. Zimmer even fitted a quicker rack and pinion steering box, giving it sharper responses than you'd expect to find from something with wire wheels and this much chrome. If there was a weakness, it was in the brakes and suspension. Zimmer left them stock, meaning it missed out on the excellent suspension redesign Pontiac introduced for the Fiero in 1988. As a result, it was poised and well balanced, but not as capable as it could have been with more aggressive hardware. And on paper, the Quicksilver was utterly unique, America's first mid-engine luxury coupe, but in practice, it was too odd to fit comfortably into any market segment. It was 3 times more expensive than the Fiero GT it was based on, but lacked the raw performance to compete with European exotics. At the same time, it was smaller and more unconventional than traditional American luxury coupes, making it a hard sell to Cadillac and Lincoln buyers. But Zimmer's bigger problem was financial. You see, around the same time, they were pouring money into their other ventures like luxury vans, motorhomes and yachts. These didn't generate the profits they'd hoped for, and the company was bleeding cash. And without the resources to properly market the Quicksilver, it slipped quietly under the radar. Production lasted just 3 years, from 1986 to 1988, with around 170 cars being built before Zimmer filed for bankruptcy. By then, the Quicksilver had already become one of the rarest American cars of its decade. Not because it was exclusive, but because almost nobody knew it existed in the first place. But let's say you want one for some reason. Are they still so stupidly overpriced? Well, no. You see, because it's obscure, the Quicksilver remains surprisingly affordable. You can still find one for under $15,000. And that's a bargain. Why? Well, because of its rarity, unique engineering and hand-built body. Anyways, the Quicksilver might never have been perfect. It wasn't particularly fast, it was expensive when new, and it existed in a strange no man's land between sports car and luxury cruiser. But it was daring. In an era when American luxury coupes were growing bland and indistinguishable, the Quicksilver was unapologetically different. It asked a simple question that no one else bothered to ask. Why can't a luxury coupe be mid-engined? And even if the answer didn't change the industry, it left us with one of the most delightfully eccentric chapters in American automotive history. But yeah, at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys think of the Quicksilver. I actually like its design. I think this thing looks really cool. I do understand why they didn't sell. Like, even with good marketing, this thing was really expensive and really underpowered. So I don't know who would have bought it, even if they marketed it to a lot of people. But it does look really cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please have a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you guys did like this video, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if it's someone's a like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?